The views and opinions expressed by Cablevision are not necessarily those of the African American News. Language.
This program is a member of the African American Media Network, which is a consortium of minority-owned television, film, music, radio, newspaper, and internet computers. This TV program is produced at 21 South Television and Filmworks Multimedia in the heart of Nassau County. And you are watching for the 5th year in a row the African American News for your mind.
About now, I would like to officially introduce to you my new 12-inch record. It's called Conspiracy, and it's on Propaganda Records. And right about now, I'd like to tell you that it's not what you're used to hearing. It's not gangster rap. It's not degrading women. But it does talk about the conspiracy to destroy black people here in America. Now, right now, I'm in nodrummz International, which is the studio where I mastered my album and my 12-inch. So we're going to go right now to the person it says on here, recorded and mixed by Dave at nodrummz. So right now, we're going to talk to Dave. Dave is a little laid back, but he doesn't know. He got to speak up a little bit so he can be picked up by that mic.
Okay, I am David from nodrummz International. Basically, this is a pre-production studio, and what we do here is we contract independent companies and also church groups and also independent contractors or individuals to come in and do tracks. We do a lot of commercialized work for radio stations, public service announcement, and also, like I said, we do commercial. We have a current commercial out for a Brooklyn hospital that we did last year in December, and we're available to the community.
Now, you got a fat studio right here. I mean, I don't know if people can get a look, but you gotta check this out. Let me move my chair. All right, you got mad flavor now. Now tell people what kind of capabilities you do have here. What can you do in this studio? What are your capabilities?
Okay, basically in the studio, what we can do, we do digital editing in the studio, we do sequencing, drum programming, we also lay vocals. The vocals are laid to a digital format. They're laid to a computer, and then we can arrange the vocals any way we want. We can do anything in here from laying regular tracks, vocal tracks, to commercial remixes, samples. We have sampling capability. We have analog tape. We have digital tape.
Could you tell people a little bit about the difference between analog and digital? Because the technology is moving so fast. You know, what's the difference?
Okay, basically the difference between analog and digital is digital is a representation of analog. What it is you have an analog signal like what we're doing now. Our voice is actually analog. It's the sound that goes through the ear. And what that is done to be made into digital is converted into numbers where we can like clean up the noise and all the static and everything and reproduce an analog signal. You have analog tape and you have digital tape. The difference between analog tape is it's like your regular cassette tape. You know, you hear all the little hiss and all the noise. But when you go to digital, everything is switched over by a digital converter. It's converted into numbers. and that particular sound is represented as a number, and it can come back as clean as possible. You can filter it out, and that's basically the difference between digital and analog.
So you're saying like I saw the movie The Fly, and they say they put you through the teleporter. So when the computer put you through the teleporter, if you had any imperfections in your body, the computer would, compensate for that. So that's kind of like the same process.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same process. Yeah, you actually, what you're doing when you're digitizing something, you're actually taking the sound itself and recreating it. See, like with analog, like when you make a tape, the thing is, you put your record button on record, and it records. I mean, you may get a good recording, and you may get a bad recording. What digital does is this. If you record a record, and it's recorded good, and you digitize it, you get exactly what you digitized. If the sound is bad, it's going to come out to be a bad digital copy. The only thing, the digital is like the roadmap. You can create that over and over and over. It's like the instructions how to create that analog sound. So that's why when you transfer from digital to digital to digital to digital, you don't lose any sound quality. Like when you transfer from a tape, make a dub, you lose sound quality because you got erased heads, the record heads, I should say rather, that are just taking different generations of tape and going over and over and over, and then you just get noise after a while. But digital is the actual instructions to make that particular sound. It's like the ingredients. I mean, you have a cake in the kitchen, and you give me that particular cake, I eat it. But then you give somebody the ingredients to that cake, they can keep on making that cake all day long. All day long.
Now, how long have you been doing this, and what are your qualifications? Because I know everybody's got some kind of a studio somewhere, but, explain to the viewers and some of the people out there who are considering going into music production or the studio. Since I've known you, since I've been making my music, what are your qualifications and how long have you been doing it?
Well, basically, I've been doing it since 1989. I started off in a place called 510, South Franklin, which is the studios that PE were once in. And from there, I took it from there. I worked with different artists. I've worked with people like Granddaddy IU. I've worked with people like Dougie Fresh. We've done work for, Jive RCA. We've done work for Polygram Records. My qualifications are as a producer/engineer, which really means not only do I physically mix the record, but I actually have the capability of putting it together too. I could either, put together samples, I edit the samples, I play the keyboards, I put all the tracks together. And also I edit, I can do remixes, I could take a record, put it in the computer, splice it up, and remaster it. I'm a graduate of the Institute of Audio Research, where I had went to school for sound recording engineering. That's a school based in Manhattan, and they turn out really good students, and basically most of their students work in post-production and all facets of the industry, including record labels, promotional companies, studios, all facets, from tape duplicating plants to home studios. They do wiring, sound reinforcement. Sound reinforcement is when you actually work in a concert situation, whereas you may plug up the guitars and do live sound checks and set up the equipment for a concert itself. That's what sound reinforcement is.
Yo, so listen, how long have you seen projects take? I know our project took us longer than we thought it would take. What would you tell people out there who are going to use the studio, you know, what the process is like from start to finish?
Well, basically, the product.
To press up their
The process is this. You should have some idea of what you want to do. You get yourself together. Get your music together. That's very important. If you're a rapper, you need to get your lyrics together. You need to get your bar structure together. You need to get your intro together. You need to get your verses together. You need to get your roadmap in. You need to know what you're going to do before you step in the studio, because a lot of people waste time when they come in the studio. They come in the studio unprepared, and if the corporation is charging per hour, it's wasted, because you're sitting there writing rhymes and trying to put together samples or trying to put together music, and that's taking valuable time, and you're being charged for that. The purpose of a pre-production studio is such that you do pre-production in there. You come in, you get your sounds ready, you get your lyrics ready, and then you take it from there. When you get in the studio, you should be busy putting your stuff together. You know, putting stuff where it needs to go, not trying to sample stuff, you know, and trying to shave stuff down and make the sample right and put it in various machines. You should have that all done already, you know. You should know what type of sound that you want. You should know your lyric structure. You shouldn't have to come in the studio and start to learn what you need to do. It's just like a doctor. You don't come into the operating room, or you don't come into the hospital and try to learn what to do. You're supposed to come there already prepared to do what you have to do. And that is the basic concept that people need to know when they come into a studio.
Now, for those of you out here who think it's an easy industry, these are some of the tips that show why some groups are successful and why some are not. As a producer, what are the things are blaring mistakes that you've seen with groups that have come to the studio, that have recorded things, but then went nowhere? What are some of the inconsistencies you've seen in that?
Some of the inconsistencies that I have seen is that there is no regimented form of leadership. Everybody has no type of title. That everybody wants to be head honcho. A producer is responsible for the overall sound of the finished product. That is the job of a producer. An engineer's job is to make sure all the wiring, all the patching, all the mixing, all the technical stuff, all the reverberation, everything. They're supposed to make sure that that stuff is tight. The rapper is supposed to come in and do his lyrics. The singer is supposed to come in and do her lyrics also. The musicians are supposed to come in and do what they have to do. Everybody has a set job in the studio, and what happens with people, sometimes they cross. This one is, you know, this one comes and tells this one, well, I don't think that it should go that way. You should say it like this, instead of worrying about what they need to do. I understand that there's going to be certain things where somebody can give you advice, but when you're paying for a recording session, you shouldn't spend time arguing about who should do what. You should have that already down. You leave that to the producer. The producer is the one who's responsible for the overall outcome of the project. He should be the one directing the flow of traffic, and not the singer, or not the drum programmer. The producer should be doing that.
So that's one of the things you're telling me, that you see a lot of groups come in and they get their thing down, and then there is no chain of command on who should do it, what particular job.
That's correct. I mean, there's total chaos when people come into the studio. They basically do what they want to do, and they get offended when somebody else tells them how to do their stuff the way that they know how to do their stuff. A producer is the person who wears the chief's hat. The executive producer is the person who, like the record company, or an individual who pays for the whole project. I mean, he's laying out the cash. I mean, so basically, how the overall sound comes out, the producer's responsible for that.
All right. So these are some tips that you guys need to take down. Because I know I run into people so often that they say, you know, I'm in the studio, I'm doing this and that, and then I never hear any noise from them. So I guess these are some of the things that could be attributed to that. Now, what I want to also go into is you have a very well-rounded studio. Now, explain to people what it means when you burn a CD. Because a lot of people don't know what that means when you say, I'm going in the studio that can burn a CD. What does that mean? Since you can do that here.
Okay, basically you have a CD recorder. CD and DAT are the most common digital recorders now. What happens is tape is basically analog, and I explained the difference between analog and digital already. Analog is the original air or sound that is produced by vibration, and digital is the actual process of converting that sound into numbers, where it's recreated. Basically, a DAT machine does that. It makes digital copies. When you burn a CD, you're actually doing that. You're actually recording something, and it's being digitized, and it's being put down onto the CD. Now, there's a process in CD burning. You can record over a CD more than one time in a CD recorder. But once the process is finalized, you cannot remove that information from the CD. You can re-record over a CD, but that CD can only be played in that CD recorder if it's not finalized. You will not be able to take that CD out and play it in another recorder unless it's finalized. And finalization is a process in which the information is permanently burnt onto the CD.
Alright, so those are some of the capabilities here at nodrummz International. You can get a CD burnt, or you can have a DAT made, which is the popular format. Now, I want to go into something else, something I couldn't contact you for, but the Long Island Music Awards were back in earlier this year. We had nominations. I was nominated, and what I learned from that is that the hip-hop scene on Long Island is basically DEAD. And what is your thoughts on that, about the hip hop culture out on Long Island? It's not being nourished. I see there are not many venues that cultivate it, and they're not, you know, it's not active. Expound on that a little bit.
I think that the reason why that is that a lot of the people that have gone on to make it big, I probably am in no position to say that they do reach back. Roosevelt is a very rich community as far as talent goes, and we've had many named artists that come out of here. I remember there was times where battles were very known between DJs back in the days, and down at the park was a breeding ground for rappers and all types of musical entertainment. That seems to have ceased, and people are kind of like lost now. They have no way or no facilities to basically vent their avenue of expertise anymore. I mean, basically, the city is where everybody wants to be. But Long Island has some places. If you can find these producers, they have some places where people can really get down. I think that people are not reaching back into the community. That's basically why the rap scene is kind of dying here. I mean, there are no venues to showcase these rappers on Long Island anyway. The parks are inactive now, like they're very inactive. They used to be very active back in the days. I don't know why the parks are very inactive. If there is no venue or no place where these people can showcase their talent, of course it's going to die, because it's not being nourished. People are doing it in their bedrooms, but nobody can hear it in their bedroom. I mean, it's got to be open. The community has to know what you're doing. If you're a rapper, you got to get your stuff out of there. out of the community or into the community. Out of the basement, I should say, because of the fact it's good to make a demo in the basement, but then you got to get it out there. You know, a record is not going to be heard, you know, under your bed. We have to create avenues in which we can get our stuff heard. I mean, we have some talented people out here, but, you know, the bottom line is we're just not heard. It's just on the street corners, brothers on the street corners rapping. That's cool. Get it on a tape, get it on some wax, get it on a CD, get it to somebody, let it be heard. There's Underground Railroad, you know, WBAI, I mean, get it to place, I mean, network. That's what I'm saying, network.
Now, what's the call numbers of WBAI?
Well, I'm not positively sure what the number to WBAI is, but I know they have a website, http www.wbai.com. They will give you the address and the phone number to that particular establishment. They have a show on Saturday nights, I believe it's from 12 o'clock to 2 a.m. in the morning, called the Underground Railroad. When I used to go to school at IAR, it wasn't too far from where I was, and we were down in the village, and they have some nice brothers down there. I mean, you'd walk into this building and brothers be in the hallway just tearing it up. I mean, these guys were great. But you just got to get yourself heard somehow. We had a station out here at one time, I believe it was
WBAU
90.3 Garden City. I mean, that had did wonders for the community. It launched PE, if I'm not mistaken. It launched Dr. Dre and Ed Lover, if I'm not mistaken. So many people came through there. Tribe Called Quest, you know, leaders of the new school. I mean, Black Moon came through there. I mean, everybody came through WBAI. And it seemed like, okay, fine. We got what we wanted and we took that out of here. You know, Wildman Steve was doing wonders for WBAI. And I don't know why they took that out of here. And they haven't replaced it yet. Things like that, we need to go out there and fight for. We need a radio station in Roosevelt. That's what we need. We need a place where we can broadcast from. We need facilities where we can learn how to make videos, do commercials.
Like you're talking about the Roosevelt Media Center.
That's what I'm saying.
Now there has been talk about you wanting to participate in that.
Yes, definitely. I mean,
now tell our viewers what you are considering doing for the Roosevelt Media Center that's going to be built within the next 2 months.
Well, basically, what I would be doing in there is running their production studio in there. That would entail basically a lot of tracking and engineering and laying of vocals and doing commercial, whatever. You know, digital editing. A lot of freelance work. I mean, the thing is, we have to do these things. And
so you heard it live here first. So you heard it here first, because that's one of our best kept situations, is that a lot of you out there have felt that the media center idea has gone away, but we've just been steadily working on it, and we will be opening up by Christmas. We'll be having our grand opening, and this will be one of the engineers in the music production room. So take note. But like I said, the name of the 12-inch is called Conspiracy and Paranoid. Back with Afraid of Me and Television. You'll be seeing the video pretty soon, because we're shooting it this Sunday, but it won't be ready by the date of this airing of this show. So we'll see what happens. On an end note, we're gonna let nodrummz tell you one more time here with Dave what you need to do if you really want to bring hip-hop back to Long Island, or rather Strong Island. Come on, producer.
Basically, a lot of rappers out there, they gotta get serious about what they're doing. As far as lyrical content, clean the stuff up, clean a lot of the stuff up. I mean, there's things that we can choose to talk about, and there's some rappers out there that are very intellectual. Q-Tip, Chuck D. I mean, these guys, man, they talk about an immense topic, or they have an immense vocabulary, period. I mean, you guys go to school. A lot of you guys are in college. I mean, think of words to say instead of, cursing, swearing. I mean, fine. A rapper is like an actor on TV. I mean, he's supposed to be able to portray different roles. I mean, there's not only the gangster out there, there's a good guy out there. I mean, there's the comedian out there. I mean, take your rap style and mold it into something that is, unique. Fresh Prince has his style, Chuck D has his style, Ice Cube has his style. They're just different styles out there. Take it and mold it into something, and be serious about what you're doing. Take your lyrics, make sure that they're ready. When you get into a studio, make sure that you know what you're doing, and the foremost thing is to make sure that you get it heard. I mean, competition is great, but I mean, the thing is this: if nobody hears your stuff, you're not going anywhere, and that's the bottom line.
So you know what that means? That means come see me if you serious. If you're not, don't stop. Numbers right on the screen. Website. You'll be able to see some of his stuff on our website. You got some email, man? What's your email address, man? You want somebody to email you?
Sure. Email can be D as in Dave, D as in Dave again, O as in Oscar, T as in Tom, T as in Tom again, I as in Iris, N as in Nancy, at AOL.com.
All right, you heard it? Now, once again, Conspiracy is the name of the 12-inch with Paranoid back with Afraid of Me and Tell Our Vision. Yo, don't sleep.